I presume that you're asking me how scientists can sound this wacko because I must be sounding wacko. It's really an interesting question. If you study science long enough, and seriously enough, and dig deeply enough, if you don't come out feeling wacko about it, you haven't understood a thing. This is a dream that I'm dreaming. Just as in a dream, you dream different characters can emerge and come out to you and talk to you and meet you and so forth. It's possible to go to another level of dreaming where you can become each of the characters that you dream.
Go backward and forward in time.
Time is relative.
Goes backwards in time, and forward in time.
Time was not absolute.
Information.
Time reversal symmetry.
Of course we can go backward and forward in time.
Occurred
Are
when it was
all realities in the quantum field existing simultaneously?
The actual mental experience.
For one sample of water, we drop about 0.5 cc's onto each 50 petri dishes. Then we take those 50 petri dishes and freeze them in a freezer at minus 25 degrees Celsius for about 3 hours. We take those frozen samples into a refrigerator that is set at minus 5 degrees Celsius, where a microscope with a camera is set up. There we take photographs of each of the 50 water drops individually. We first take photographs of water that we did not put any information in. Then we take the water with information and do the same procedure just described. We take those before and after photographs and compare the differences. When we projected the feeling of love and thanks to water, it made the most beautiful crystal. At times like this, I think water is at peace.
I study quantum physics. I sometimes teach it. I have written a book on quantum physics and many books explicating the meaning of quantum physics. When electrons move about the atomic nucleus, they do so in orbits. You have seen such models of the atom in high school books. You can easily recall them. But the subtle part comes when we think of how does the electron jump from one orbit to the other. A jump that is associated with the emission of light from atoms. Atoms emit light in the process. But how does the electron jump from one orbit to another? Niels Bohr was the first one to point this out. And it's radical. Electrons never go through the intermediate space, to the intervening space. Electrons never traverse any space in making this transition. They just are in the higher orbit and then they are in the lower orbit. No space in between. So how does one make the jump? If you think in terms of continuity of movement, you can't find answers to that.
After my PhD from Harvard, I went to CERN, the European Laboratory for Particle Research, and then joined faculty at Stanford. And my work there has been the development of unified quantum field theories. I have about 100 publications in this area, but perhaps I'm best known for the discovery of supersymmetric flipped SU5 grand unified field theory. Quantum mechanics guarantees that the deeper you go, the more energetic nature becomes. It's for this reason that nuclear power is 1,000,000 times more powerful than chemical power. Why? Because chemical power represents a molecular manipulation. Nuclear power emerges from a nuclear manipulation, but the nucleus is 1,000,000 times smaller and 1,000,000 times more fundamental and 1,000,000 times more powerful than the chemical level. So the deeper you go, the smaller you go, quantum mechanics says, the more dynamic you become. The unified field exists at the ultimate scale of the Planck scale, 10 to the minus 33 centimeters. The tighter physics have tried to grasp onto physical reality, to understand what it's really made of. What are the core building blocks of life? At the basis of it all, life, the universe, slips through your fingers. And you come up with something that's increasingly abstract to come to the realm of pure abstraction. And that's what the unified field is. It's pure abstract potential, pure abstract being, pure abstract self-aware consciousness, which rises in waves of vibration to give rise to the particles, the people, everything we see in the vast universe.
My name is Micheál Ledwith, and for most of my life I was a professor of theology. Well, we do create our own reality all the time, have always done so. But the type of reality that we create, with all its limitations and its suffering, disease, lack, accidents, vicissitudes of various kinds, that mirrors the consciousness that we express through. So we are creating our own reality every day, though we find that very hard to accept. There's nothing more exquisitely pleasant than to blame somebody else for the way we are. It's her fault or his fault, it's the system, it's God, it's my parents, it's the state, whatever. But in quantum physics, we're brought back to reality. Whatever way we observe the world around us is what comes back to us. And the reason why my life, for instance, is so lacking in joy and happiness and fulfillment is because my focus is lacking in those same things exactly. If we're victims, we should ask ourselves, have I a victim mentality? If I'm continually meeting misfortunes and accidents and tragedies, maybe it's because my mentality is basically attuned to accepting that this is the way life is, and so it happens. Now, why can I not achieve those things? Fundamentally through lack of focus. To create something like a $100 bill or a gold coin in my hand demands that I have to have absolute control of my thoughts and absolute acceptance that it will happen. And if we do combine those two things, and they're very difficult to achieve but not at all impossible, then they will happen. Skeptics will laugh and scoff at that, but again, time is on our side, and science, I think, is also on our side, because it's showing us more and more that this is in fact how reality behaves. It is absolutely attendant upon a thought that is fully and deeply felt and accepted. If you accept with every rudiment of your being that you will walk on water, will it happen? Yes, it will. But it's like positive thinking. It's a wonderful idea, positive thinking. But what it usually means is that I have a little smear of positive thinking covering a whole mass of negative thinking. So thinking positive is not really thinking positive. It's just disguising the negative thinking that we have.
I'm Dr. Daniel Monti. I'm a physician with specialty training in psychiatry and human behavior. I'm on the full-time faculty at the Jefferson Medical College.
I actually got very interested in studying this whole topic of the brain and spirituality because it had to do with a lot of the questions that I was asking ever since I was a child about reality and how we understood truth and what was real. And as I grew up and as I realized that while spirituality was in some senses a very important part of trying to find those answers, science also was a very crucial part. And I was ultimately looking for some way of bringing those two forces together.
Well, my name is Candace Pert, and I'm a professor at Georgetown in the medical school.
I should make it clear that I'm a graduate student in physics. I'm not a full-fledged theoretical physicist yet. But if fortune smiles on me and I continue to work like a dog on my problem sets and exams and whatnot, eventually what I hope to do with this is to apply fundamental quantum theory to quantum information processing.
So I decided, well, if I gave up being department chairman, and if I gave up all my professional committees, and I gave up all my government committees, I would have a block of time that I could put to work. Of course, I give up all my power positions, but you have to sacrifice something. I had to keep my day job because my family needed to be fed.